Hello friends, I want to go over with you GoGuardian so that we can have a better opportunity to observe what our students are doing in class while they're on Chromebooks, and it becomes part of our regular classroom management system. So I hope that you get something out of this and you know where to find me at the end if we have questions. Hello friends, I wanted to talk to you about GoGuardian and some of the things that I think are most important for us here at EC Class. First and foremost, I think it's important that you have your classrooms set up through Google Classroom so that everything syncs pretty quickly and very easily. And then the next step, it would be if you needed to add students or subtract students, you do so through Google Classroom, and then everything syncs up pretty easily. That being said, there's also the need occasionally to have a few students in a separate monitor group, and you can add those students not through Google Classroom. And here's an example of that. I put this particular group together, and these are just some sessions that have run. This one's actually still running, and these are the students that are in it. And if I needed to add a student, I would click here, and then I would add their LCS email in its entirety to put that student in. Normally I would just go to Infinite Campus, copy and paste, and that's that. And that's how those students are put in there. Okay, so this is just a small group monitoring. I have a larger group that I called Sneaky. Now that's because sometimes some of these students are a little sneaky, but in any event, it allows me to watch the screens and apply a scene to it. And I know you all are familiar with scenes, but I'll probably briefly and just very briefly review that for a second. Alright, so it is after hours, so this session ends in 10 minutes, but class ended 40 minutes ago. So it's not surprising we don't see anyone. Let's talk about some scenes really quickly. Alright, so these are the scenes that I have. I named this scene YouTube only, and it is an allow mode, which means that students are allowed to go places with certain exceptions, and these are exceptions that I have added. That includes YouTube, this game where eggs shoot each other. These are video watching devices, or rather browsers, and of course Google Hangouts. I'm also limiting this group to only having 2 tabs open at any one time. Alright, so if I make any changes, if I wanted to say I'm going to be forgiving for a particular day, if I make any changes, I'm going to update the scene. I can update the scene in the middle of an ongoing session, and it takes place right away. Okay, so now one of the things I think is really important, and what I wanted to talk about today mostly, is to say that we should have our students on a schedule by period. So if I was to take this class that I have and come in here, this is where I can rename the class, describe the class, I can add the scene that I want to run automatically, and I will show you that this particular class runs all day, Monday through Friday, from 7:30 to 3:30. Now, my suggestion would be that you create classes periods 1 through 7 or 1 through 6, however many classes you have, and you define these classes by period very specifically. So for instance, this one could be 7:35. Oh, that's not a 35. I can barely see mine. Yours, I bet you'd see. 7:35, and then it would end at 8:31. Right, so that's the end of first period. Okay, now we might want to think about ending a little bit early, and the reason I say that is because we want to be careful to not overlap with another teacher's GoGuardian account. So let's say student A is in my first period class, and I've got that Chromebook monitoring system going from 7:35 to 8:23, and then they transition to their next period. And at 8:36, the next teacher begins their monitoring. So I would say that this is going to be consistent for me. This would be my first period class that would go 7:35 to 8:23 all the time, and it would start automatically. Okay, you can create that right here very simply. If I was to have a brand new classroom, I would put my 7:35 to 8:23 in here, click Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, add the schedule, and it goes. It's the simplest thing. Okay, so here's where I add and subtract students, and my session, as I said, is ongoing, so I could go to it, but you can see I have not much time left. Okay, so that is the important part about GoGuardian that I wanted you to see for today. And maybe in the 6 minutes it takes to watch this, you've learned something or found something helpful. Okay, thank you very much, and you know where to find me if you have questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll have more of these videos that will help us along sometime soon.